Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Seventh Level Reptiles, and I'm happy to share another video with you today. Today's going to be a little bit different. We're taking a break from the snakes. As you guys know, to feed my snakes, I breed rats, and as I have grown and producing more and more to keep up with my 80-plus snake collection, I've had to increase rat production, and I right now have a whole lot of rats. And one of the things that goes along with that, not something I enjoy or I'm excited about, but I am going to have occasions where I'm going to need to euthanize rodents so that I can freeze them for a later date or what have you, or potentially as I have customers that are purchasing rats, which I hope to be able to do at least on a small scale here soon, to be able to help cover some of the costs of feeding all the rats I have. I'm going to have a humane way to euthanize rodents so that they can be frozen to be used at a later date. And so to do that, the best way is to use CO2 gas and euthanize them. So today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you how to build a CO2 chamber, as I'm putting one together now to do that for my collection. Again, that's not something I enjoy doing. I don't look forward to. I'd rather not do it. However, it's just one of the necessities that goes along with being in this business and having a collection the size I do. You may remember, if you checked out our video a few weeks back, I talked about just how much money I've been able to save breeding my own rodents versus purchasing them. And with a breeding operation the size I have, it really is not feasible for me to buy all my rodents. So this is just one of the realities of how it has to be. And so I thought, just like others have done, I'm going to put out how I'm going to build this chamber. I am not going to demonstrate the use of it on this video. I'm not going to show me gassing the rats. I know that there are some folks out there that do that. I just don't really particularly see the value in that, as far as, I mean, I guess it's informational and we'll talk about what you need to do, but as far as actually showing that happen, I just don't see the value in it for this video. So I just want to rest assured, if you want the information but you don't want to watch that, that's not going to be on the video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and break down my parts list for you. I've got all my parts laid out here in front of me. In just a second, I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you each individual part that goes into this. I will tell you where I got it. I'm even going to include on the video the price that I paid as of today. Today is March 7th, 2024. So obviously prices are subject to change if you're watching this sometime after I put it out this weekend. But as of right now, I will share with you the prices that I paid and the different places. And in the description at the end, I'll have a link down below to each one of these items if you want to do what I do. Now, this setup is not the most simple in terms of how you could do it. There are easier and simpler ways to do it, but I felt this was the best option to do what I want to do and to give me an idea of how much gas I'm putting in the rats, so that one, I don't waste it, but two, I don't give them too much gas and actually cause them pain and suffering in the process. I just want them to be able to peacefully go to sleep, and and that's it. They won't feel any pain, and then off to the freezer. So let me share it with you. There are lots of ways you can do it. Like I always like to say, this is a way to do it. It's not the way. I don't believe there's just one way that you can do it. So I've been researching and kind of compiling ideas from a bunch of different folks, and I've kind of settled on doing it this way. So it's a little bit different in some ways than some that I've seen, and it's a lot like others that I've seen. So hopefully you like this and you find it educational. And if you have any questions, you can shoot a comment down below. Also, if you'd ever be interested in seeing me do a video on how I breed rats, how I got started, and how I breed them now to produce, right now, hundreds of rats. I produced over 100 rats last week. If you're interested in that, hit me in the comments and let me know. Maybe someday I'll do a how to breed rats video for you guys. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around so I can show you all the different elements that go into this chamber. All right, so real quick, before we talk about the different parts and pieces, let me talk about the tools you'll need for this. You will need a couple sets of pliers that are adjustable so that you can tighten the fittings around the system. You will need a drill and a step bit, or I'll spill the beans later, but the size that I needed is 9/16. A step bit is great for that, or if not, if you build it the same way, a 9/16 drill bit should substitute nicely if you don't have a step bit. And lastly, some painter's tape, and I'll explain why we need that a little later. But these are the tools you'll need. Now let's take a look at the parts. All right, so let's see how this goes. You can see I've got my setup here with all the different parts and tools that I needed to make this happen. So let's go over it one by one, and we'll start with this box here. So this is the box that I went with. It is a sealed and latching box. I got it from Home Depot. This one is 30 quarts. So you can see right there, it's a 30 quart tote from Weather Pro. Now I will tell you, I did test this and put water inside it, closed it, flipped it upside down and turned it, and it is not watertight. So it's supposed to keep dust and moisture off, but it is not 100% watertight because I did get some leaking around the edges as I put water against it. Still, that shouldn't be a problem. Since CO2 is heavier than air, the CO2 will settle on the bottom and it'll push the air out. You could use this tote probably without an exit line, but I am going to be putting an exit line in mine today. So like I said, I got this from Home Depot, and I'll include the link in the description. This was a good size, I felt, for probably most of what I'm going to do. It is a little shallow, so small to medium rats could hop out of here if I'm not careful. But the great thing about this is once I've got the setup complete, if I want to go to a bigger tote, they also had a 64 quart, which is, 5 inches or so taller than this. If I want to go to that, all I have to do is add valve stems, and I'm ready to go with the setup that I have. I don't need to add anything else other than these. So speaking of those, for my entry and exit lines, I'm using these valve stems I got off of Amazon. Link will be in the description. It comes in a pack of 4, so that's great. I can put 2 in this one, and if I want a bigger tank, I can put 2 in that too. But of course I don't want to use more than I need to, because the bigger the tank, the more gas it's going to use. So I really wanted to try and keep it on the smaller side for what I need, so that I'm not wasting any more gas than I need to, because that's kind of one of the more costly elements of this. So speaking of the gas, let's look at the tank here. Sorry, my floor is dirty. I swept it like this week, but the sealant I used is really sticky and never really, even though it cured, it got really sticky, and so it still looks dirty all the time, even when it's been vacuumed and swept clean. So this is a tank I picked up. This is a 20-pound CO2 tank, and it's full. You can get these on Amazon. A decent one, the cheapest I could find that had free shipping was $170. So a tank this size is obviously a significant investment. You don't need a tank this big. You can get a 5-pound tank. You can even, I've seen some people, a buddy of mine uses like just a little tiny CO2 cartridges you can buy from Walmart with a paintball repair kit. He set his up. I've seen people do them with paintball cylinders. Apparently the sporting goods stores in this area have kind of stopped doing those paintball refills. It's not that popular thing anymore, so he had to improvise. But I went ahead and sprung for the biggest tank so that I could have plenty of gas for hopefully a long time. I went to a local gases supplier called Arc3. There may be one in your area, but a buddy of mine who used to be a welder recommended them to me, and I ended up paying $175 for the tank and the gas. Now, it's a long story, but I ended up having to argue with them because they quoted me one price on the phone, and then when I showed up, it was a different price. So I had to kind of fight with them. But once I own the tank, whether I get it online or locally, I can take this and swap it out for a full tank when this one runs empty for $25 at the store. And like I said, this should last a very, very long time. I haven't started using it, so I don't know how long, but it should last for quite a long time. So you need a tank, whether that's 20 ounces, 12 ounces, little cartridges, or 20, 50-pound one like this. one tip that somebody gave me is you can look on like Facebook Marketplace or something like that, and you can find a lot of these. You can find used CO2 tanks sometimes. If you do that though, just make sure that you are checking the certification date, because they do have to be certified in order to be refilled. So if you get one used, you want to make sure that it's certified. If not, it's probably going to cost you 60 to 70 bucks to get it recertified at a gases store. So I figured this was the best option, just to go ahead and get one that I knew was satisfied or certified and good to go. All right. Now, I mentioned these little valve stems. These are just like an inner tube valve stem that you would use in a tire of some sort. And I'm going to use this to connect my line. So you can see I've already added it here. And what it is, I just drilled the right size hole. It snaps in place. And then what I can do is use this air chuck. We'll take it out here. Again, this was also purchased on Amazon. But you take it off, squeeze the tip, and it quick connects, and you're connected. So this will connect to my hose, and then I can quick connect and disconnect it. So like I was saying, once if I need a bigger tote, I can just install this stem and use the same chuck. I've got extras that came with this, and I can set up another one with the single hose and go back and forth if I need to. So air chuck. I was able to get a single one, so that was great. The next thing is this little hose stem. It's the same thing. It will, on the other side, it will connect here into the valve stem, and what it'll do is that'll allow me to have a place for the oxygen to come out on the other side. So as the CO2 sinks to the bottom, it will, let me turn this around here, it will push the air out here. So one tip I wanted to share with you, because I never saw anybody mention this, but I saw a lot of people drilling holes, which I already drilled the hole, so I'm not going to show you that. But I saw people drilling the holes and then having to pick off all these parts and pieces. Tip, if you've got some painter's tape, just put a couple layers of painter's tape over where you want to do the hole. And when you pull that tape off, after you're done drilling your hole, it might get your bit a little sticky if the paint's real sticky. But you see that? I didn't clean that up at all. It is perfectly smooth. There's no cracking. If you're worried about cracking drilling it, the tape will take care of that. You won't have, I won't say it's impossible, but it's virtually impossible that you're going to have cracking. And then you can take the tape off and use it to pick up the little plastic pieces that came off the drill. So to do that, I used this step bit. And you see, once I figured out the measurement, I actually just taped it so that I could make sure I didn't drill too far. Now, the package here says that it is for a 0.453 inch rim hole. That's way too small for what you actually need for this application. So I'm going to show you here. Let me put this stem cover back on and find, where did I drop my other stem cover, or my valve stem? It's rolled under my tripod. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and show you on both sides. So I'm going to take this through the back, and it's got like this little lip here that snaps through and will make it airtight. So obviously you want it to be tight. If that hole's too big, then you won't get an airtight seal. But you can hear that little click when it went into place. And now I've got it nice and tight. So what I found on my step bit is the hole needs to be 9/16. So step bit, it's labeled on the other side. But 9/16 is the right size hole that I found to get it to fit just right. So if you don't have a step bit, but you have a 9/16 inch bit, that should work just fine. And as I stated, this will connect right into here, and it will press the air valve, or the little air pin in the valve closed, or open, I mean, so that air can flow through. And you have to do the same thing here on this end. I'm not going to show it, but I actually get a pair of tweezers or some small pliers and remove the tip out of there so that the air can flow through it freely. And when I'm actually using the tank, like I said, I'm not going to demonstrate that, but I'll put this into a little cup of water, so I'll be able to see the air bubbling up when it's coming in, and I'll know that it's going out into that water, but the water will prevent air from getting back into the chamber. All right. Now the next part, of course, I already mentioned the hose. I'm going to move this out of the way. I mentioned the hose again. I got this on Amazon. It's just a hybrid air hose, and I'll put a link in the description section with the price. I don't remember all these prices off the top of my head, but I'll put them on the final video. And this will screw in it's got a little quick connector here. I should have loosened it first. I'm gonna have to get pliers to loosen that, but this will connect into this adapter. The adapter will connect to the regulator. So I got adapter, I've got the hose, and I have a regulator. This is the second most expensive piece here, but this will allow me to see how much air is going into the tank and how much pressure I have. So it should help me know when I'm running low on air and ready for a refill. But by using this, I can get the correct volume of CO2 in the chamber. And there is a formula you can use. So this is a 30-quart container. So if I take that 30 quarts and I multiply it by 0.30, that will give me how much feet per square inch of carbon dioxide I will need to euthanize these rats. You want it between 30 and 40% CO2 content to euthanize them peacefully. So yeah, so this will connect. I didn't bring in the pliers and everything. So this will connect to the tank. The adapter will fit here, and then the hose will be able to quick connect right there. So that's all the parts and pieces that go into this. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to grab some pliers. I'm going to put it all together, and hopefully we'll be able to show you the finished product. Another little tip is to use plumber's tape on your connections. That way you don't have to cinch them down quite as tight, but it'll give you a nice airtight seal. All right, and there we go. I didn't think y'all probably wanted to watch me turn all the wrenches, but so we connected the valve or the regulator to the valve on the CO2 tank here. Use pliers to tighten. I did use Teflon tape at any of these connection points, so tape, tightened it. Then this is your valve, opens, closes. From here, I connected that adapter that we had, male to female adapter, connects here. Then there is a quick connect. I'll show you. It actually came attached to the opposite end where the chuck is attached now. So you got to get two sets of pliers, pull this black handle back so that you can unscrew them from each other. And then that adapter, that quick connect, screws into the adapter. Again, Teflon tape, pliers, make sure it's tight. But now, I don't know if I can do it with one hand, but now this can quick connect here and is connected to the tank. And then I use the chuck. Oop. Sorry. Right on there, and now I'm connected. So if I turn on the gas, it's going to go right into here. And that's the full setup. When I'm done, turn the gas off. This goes right back here. I can disconnect it and put it where I want to, or you can get like these type of ties that will allow you to clamp it up here. And that's it. So that's the done deal and the finished product. So again, I'll put all the parts in there in the description. You'll need a drill with a step-up bit or a 9/16 inch bit, and then just a couple of pliers, sets of pliers to tighten all the connections. But when you're done, there you go. And again, I can take this, I knocked my cover off, but I can take that, upsize it to another, a bigger size or a smaller size if I want, and the chuck will allow it to connect to the valve stems. Nice echo of metal hitting the canister there. But this was long. Fortunately, you didn't have to look mug most of the time, which was probably a good break for you. But there you go. If you have any questions, hit me up down below. I'll be happy to answer them. And like always, please take the opportunity, share the love of reptiles with anybody you can. See you next time.